And basically what's happening there is you are shifting from the third dimension into the fourth or fifth or what have you. And there's all kinds of things that happen at that point. You might feel vertigo, dizziness, you might feel a lot of heaviness or lightness or numbness or movement, but absolutely noise as well. These are called exit distractions. And it can sound like the roar of a jet airplane or a leaf blower, or you might even hear voices or cursing even, or just all kinds of weird stuff. Perception does play a big role in everything about this. A person's belief system. We perceive reality through the lens of our belief system. And that manifests very strongly in the out-of-body experience because thought rules on the astral planes. If you think it, it can manifest right in front of you, especially in certain dimensions. Everything you think, boom, it's there. So there's a lot going on, especially when you're a beginner at this. It's hard to sort out. But now, once you get good at it, you can bypass all the vibratory state and all the exit distractions and the noises and the vertigo, and you just slip right out because it is a natural thing. This is something we all do. And I just want to backtrack a little bit about, so-called dangers, because people talk about this, saying, oh, you could get lost, you could get possessed, you could go too far out and not come back. All these sort of things. And I'm like, no. Again, it's as safe as sleeping. We all have spirit guides who watch over us. It's an absolutely natural thing. The only real danger is you might encounter what I would call hostile entities, hostile spirits. But then you can just go right back into your body and they can't touch you. You're not physical when you're on the other side, so nothing can really hurt you. It's hard to get through your head when you see stuff coming at you when you're out of body. You're like, oh, I need to run. But no, you're fine. And yeah, you can hear, music on the other side has a vibrancy to it, a surround sound kind of aspect, an absolute depth that's you just can't experience here. And that's true with all senses, vision and feeling. Everything is heightened there, I think would be a good way of putting it.
Since you
It's
told
like a
us, oh, sorry.
hypersensitivity in a psychedelic state. So you get this hypersensitivity. I want to ask you about the vertigo real quick. Now I've had this where I'll lay down and then all of a sudden I get real like dizzy, like my eyes are rolling in the back of my or crossing. Does that make sense? Is this part of it? Was I almost astral traveling and it just didn't and backed out
Yep.
because I got dizzy?
100%. Yep.
Okay, so what do I need to do to step over that line? How do I cross that threshold?
Simply relax, let go of all your fear, really intend to do it. So you focus on, say, when that's happening, just completely let go and relax and be okay with it. You're gonna be fine. This universe is a safe place. Yeah, we can experience pain and all sorts of misery, especially if we latch onto it and focus on it. But ultimately, we're immortal beings. We're a part of this universe. We have all the power of the universe inside of us. It's indivisible. We are all one. It's funny when you mentioned, because going out of body and coming back, you suddenly feel an incredible connection and you lose a little bit of your individuality. Not really, but you can sense. You become so empathetic. You feel what other people are feeling. You absolutely kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but you feel that interconnectedness between everyone to the point where if someone feels pain, you might not feel it physically, but you can certainly feel it. And you recognize that individuality is, to a certain extent, an illusion. It's not. You're always going to be you. An entity is an inviolable thing. You are you. But we are so much more connected than people realize. I'm getting off a little bit on tangents here. I'm sorry.
No, it's beautiful. I did want to ask if you wanted, if you had more tangent, please continue it. But I have another question for you before Daniel does.
Sure.
Oh, then I've heard cases, and I'm going to preface this by something I'm reading in a book right now by a guy named Joe Marshala, and it's a book called Repeatlessness. Have you all ever heard of it? I found it in just half price bookstore. It's just a random anyway. So Joe Marshala, Repeatlessness. Highly recommend this book. It's fantastic. And one of the things he says about fear of the or about fear in general is a quote from some yogi that he'd studied under. And so before I ask my question, fear of the unknown is ridiculous because you can't know what that is. You don't have a fear to compare it to, right? You don't have a thing to compare it to fear-wise. What you're really afraid of is leaving the known, right? And so phrasing it that way is a fascinating way to sort of look at inviting yourself into, participate into a world that has mixed feelings as far as experiences go, right? Because I've had a bad trip psychedelic-wise, and I still took psychedelics after, right? I didn't base it on that one experience. Some people may have a challenging experience in these contact phenomena, but or out astral body or anything else. But then it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a sweeping thing, and then should therefore be ubiquity for anybody because again, it's all perception, right? To the question, then, I've heard people talk about that when you go out of body, you do run a risk. And again, that I'm going to say that this is just a perception and then ask what you think about this. You do run a risk of somebody coming into your body, and that the idea of spirit guides standing there and protecting is only as good as your belief in them. And if you have no, and so it gets very colored by you need to establish a bunch of things before you even hop out, which is fascinating that you say that we all do it naturally anyway with no sort of establishment on this, right? So the idea goes is that you can have your body inhabited while you're out of it, and then you're just stuck in some sort of place. Second part to that question, some people who travel to certain areas, even remote viewers, say that they're blocked from going somewhere. But in an astral body, I've heard that when you go to Area 51 has been the bigger one that people travel to. So when you go to Area 51, you're either turned away and it's blocked, right? Nobody can go there, or you can get in, but your soul gets trapped there in some tube, and they have soul trap tubes that they hang on to, and then they send somebody back to run your body for you. What do you think of all that, Preston? Because again, I know that's very fear-based. It's part of the conversation. So what do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that. Fear-based, because that is exactly true. The best thing anyone can do on this planet is to let go of fear, overcome fear. And this is one of the things that stops people from having out-of-body experiences. This is plain and simple fear. If you can overcome all of those so-called deadly sins, fear and lust and greed and anger, you will have a much easier time with this. You can go to Area 51. I did it. I know other people who have done it. So you can do this. There are places that are very difficult to get to that you might perhaps not be at the level of being able to do it. The very higher planes vibrate, and I'm not sure if that's the best word, but vibrate at such a high frequency that unless you are evolved, you're not going to have an easy time of it.